What's up, Spiro?
What's up? What's up? What's up, Greg? How are you?
How you doing, bro? I'm good, man. I'm
I'm
good.
good.
I'm good, man. And I'm glad that so the topic that you brought up today, I know this is like the dirty secret, I think, of so many operations, right?
Hmm.
Um and it's another C word. I like those C
Dude, you
words.
love these C words, man. Honestly, I think the guests
This C
might be
word
upset.
though, this C word is kind of scary because it's the thing that I think people put their head in the sand in on so much. And that C word
Yeah.
is cash flow. Cash flow. Doesn't it seem
Very.
like it seems to me like we're addicted to sales? Like we're addicted to looking at the top line. It's like crack.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, think about how many. What's the first? Oh, how much does your restaurant do? Oh, I do $1 million in revenue.
Right.
Right. No one talks
Right.
about how much profit. Obviously, like no one's sharing the profit, but that's the first thing everyone does. Oh, you know, it's $1 billion restaurant chain.
Yeah. That's
Like
out of business. That went bankrupt.
yeah, that went bankrupt. Why? Right.
I mean, that's the thing. So that's what we're talking about today is cash flow because that's the thing that if we're not managing that piece of the business, then we are not managing our business.
Yes.
So let's do
Yeah.
this. Ready? Let's go.
Let's rock and roll, baby.
This show is not for everyone.
If you want safe, wrong show.
If you want the same advice you've heard 1,000 times, wrong show.
If you want your beliefs left unchallenged, definitely wrong show.
I'm Greg Provence.
I'm Spiro.
Ride or Die isn't just a name.
It's a standard.
Unfuck your margins.
And rule your market.
Welcome to the Ride or Die Restaurant Show.
All right, ride or dies. Here we go. We're going to talk
Yes.
about cash flow.
Yeah.
And I think the first question I have is like, okay, what do we even mean by cash flow? Right?
You know what?
Because
That is exactly where I wanted to start because cash flow and profit are two different things. Um,
yes.
Easily confusable, you know. But I almost want to say cash flow is almost more important than profit, but
Hmm.
let's not go too far. But I think the seasoned operator will understand what I mean by that. But the person a little bit new to the business or new as being an operator will be like, "What do you mean?" You know,
Yeah. Yep.
because cash flow helps you sleep at night. I'll be honest with you.
Well, and I think simply put, like just as the name would imply, cash flow. It's cash coming in, cash coming out, right? It's
Mhm.
that ebb and flow of cash as it comes into our business and it goes out of our business. And cash is
Yeah.
liquid. Cash is actual money. It's not like, our inventory that's sitting on the shelves. Now that's important to take
Hmm.
account of too, but it's really about okay, cash coming in when we make sales and people pay us, cash going out when we pay bills and we have to pay others.
Hmm.
So that profitability, that's how it's different. The profitability is the result of that, but the cash flow is
Right.
the action. It's the active. It's that active ebb and flow of the cash going in and out, and why that's so important, I think, to monitor and to understand and be able to predict and project and plan for, is just that. Like, how are we going to grow our business? How are we going to make sure that we don't have stressful pay periods every payroll when we're like wake up in the middle of the night, we're like, oh my god, how can I pay my people?
Yeah.
All of these things are pain points that we've all felt, and and probably there's a lot of operators out there feeling it right now. But cash flow is understanding and managing our cash flow can really solve so many of those problems for us. Am I right?
100%. I so
Yes,
before
I love
this,
it when I'm right.
but before this episode, I reached out to two. Well, one's my brother. The other one's another very close friend who are both in private equity in New York. Right. They're evaluating businesses on a daily basis,
Yep.
and so I just asked them like, how important is when you guys are evaluating business? How important is cash flow? One said it's 8 out of 10. Like that's how important it is. The
Mm.
other one, cash flow is king.
Wow.
I mean, I think
Wow.
that goes. It's not just restaurants; it's every business.
Yeah.
Cash flow is so important. Obviously, cash flow means different things in different industries. But cash flow here, I mean, you see so many restaurants these days where they're saving up. So sales that go from the 1st to the 15th are there to support payroll and vendor bills that come out on the 15th. And then from the
Mhm.
15th to the 30th, they're there to they're stocking up money to pay payroll on the 1st and the vendor bills on the 1st, right? Like,
Yep.
how many of us are working just to pay our bills and don't have good cash flow, you know?
Dude, that's a vicious cycle. I see it all the time. And
Fuck,
we
I've
and
been
we
there.
like to
I've been
think,
there.
oh, we've all been there. 100%.
Mhm.
There's no I mean if you're in business, you've been there,
Yeah.
or you're not doing it right, or you're not been long enough, or something. You just have, like, or you just been super lucky, but yeah, no, we've all felt that. And that's the thing. It's like, that's painful, man. That's a stressful
Mhm.
place to be. It's like chasing that dragon. Nobody wants to be there.
No,
Nobody
and
wants
I
to be
think this goes back to what every consultant, every high-powered businessman will tell you. You need to know your numbers,
there.
and not just your numbers in terms of, what are my expenses, what are my food costs, what are my payroll expenses, but where we see it a lot is when you go from let's just say location one to two locations.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. The second location does not get enough support on cash reserves and cash flow, and it's the cash flow that causes the issues in location two, and then they want location one to pick up the slack. But there's a
Yeah.
lot that goes into that part. But so it's understanding how much money you need to operate your business, and obviously a new location, based on what I was talking before. But how much, like, what are your expenses? Like, what do you need on a monthly basis to operate your restaurant?
I
Plain and
would go
simple.
far. I'd go so far as to say on a daily basis. What's your daily break even, right? Because
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. If you really want to get down to the nitty gritty and really go down like on a weekly, hey, like we need to do this much money per day, this much money per week, or we're in trouble. So now you can really start gauging it. But you know, I think that's where you see restaurants fail. Is the first thing that happens is cash flow depletes.
okay, so here's my question. So we understand now. We understand what cash flow is, right? What we're talking
Yeah,
about. We
and
defined
its
that
importance,
and its importance.
right?
How do we know when we've got a cash flow issue? Because here's the thing. I know so many operators are judging their success or managing their business off of their bank account,
Mhm.
right? Like, I can't tell you how many times I go to meet with a new client, and of course one of the first things I'm going to ask them for is their financials. And I would say at least half the time, and these are often really pretty formidable operations, right? Like, I walked
Mhm.
into a $10 million operation the other day, and we were talking about their financials. They were a little shy to give them to me because they didn't want to look stupid.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
they also shared with me they haven't taken inventory in 3 years, right? Like, what this is an operation that is well defined in the neighborhood. Like, it's a very successful operation. They crush it. The service is amazing, all that stuff. But
wow.
what I only share that to say, like, it's so common that
Mhm.
that that a people are not just not managing their cash flow. They're not even looking at their P&Ls, right? Or if they are, you can't really trust the numbers on the P&L because it's not really, the inputs aren't really there. So I think this is a big, big problem that nobody wants to talk about because it's embarrassing, and
Yeah,
we're addicted to that top line number. Well, we're doing 3 million in sales. Well, that's a
yeah,
very, very small piece of the picture. And so I really want to. I'm glad we're talking about this because it's a scary topic. It's something that people don't like to reveal. It's a
yeah,
very personal thing. There's emotion around it. There's
yeah.
fear
It is.
around it. There's so much that goes around this shit.
Mhm.
And I think that it's important for us to have the conversation more openly so people feel safe to say,
Yeah,
fuck, man, I want to do something about this.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, I think you can start to see it when again things get tight. Can you? can you maneuver, right?
Mm.
Are you delaying things inside your operation because the money's not there, right? Whether it's a
Yeah.
repair, whether it's a marketing campaign, or to bring on a service that's going to cost you, even though you know it's going to bring you in money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you hesitant because of you know, as an owner, you're hesitant because
Yep.
if I put 3 grand there,
Yep.
or I don't have the money to go buy a new line refrigerator that just broke. How do we maneuver around it, right? Like
Yep.
that's how many of us have been there. I mean, we've all, I think, at one point, if
I'm
you've
going to
operated
say the majority of operators are there.
right
Almost
now, yeah,
everybody on this, almost everybody listening to this is probably nodding their head, going, "Yep, that's me. Yep, yep."
yeah, yeah, 100%. I mean, we all are at some point. I mean, very few are the people who are at the end of the month. There's a boatload of money left over in profit, and they're draining their bank account, and that's the reason they have bad cash flow. Like that's the 1%, right?
Yeah.
Like you're probably not listening to this if that's you. I mean, if you are, then I would, maybe take a little less profit, but then you can get off. You can get off now, But
It's part of fun for those in need.
yeah, right.
You know.
So I think look yourself in the mirror and you know where you're at. We don't need to really explain it. It's either you're saving up all the sales to just pay those first and 15th type of bills, or can't you're handcuffed by your sales. And what I mean by that is what I just explained of, can you buy a new line refrigerator for a couple $1,000? Can you fork out a little bit of money to make some money?
Right.
Like, are you handcuffed by what your sales are every day?
Mm.
Right. So I think that's where we're at.
But here's my question now. Okay, so now we've identified that, okay, pretty much everybody's there, right?
Mhm.
Well, what the freak are we going to do about it? Because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people here listening to this right now that are probably saying, well, yeah, but costs just went up and labor's out of control and tariffs and this and that and all these things. Like, yeah, that's true. I mean, dude, our industry, I mean, many industries have taken a beating for sure, but I mean, this industry has really been through it as far as like rising costs and all the kinds of things that we've had to deal with. And I don't want to minimize any other industry's strife, but this is it's a real thing. Like we are facing real challenges. But I think it goes back to so many of the episodes that we've recorded on this is like we got to get out of that victim role and decide how are we gonna overcome this? What are we going to do to change it? But here, so I guess that's the question. Like, okay, so now, okay, we're a little cash poor. Yes, we're that person that's like struggling to get through pay periods and all that kind of stuff. What do we do?
Well, I think this is something we always talk about is reactive, versus proactive. So many of us are going to get reactive, and the first thing we do is raise our prices or cut quality. Which one? Pick your poison.
Yeah.
Or some people do both. Like, let's
start cutting staff, start cutting this, and cut down your marketing. Cut. Death by 1,000 cuts.
There's a trimming the fat and running lean, and then there's cutting off your nose to spite your face. Like you're going to hurt your product. You're going to hurt the quality. You're going to hurt the service, and you're only driving more people away. Like if anything, raise your prices a little bit, but I would say stay away from cutting your quality, because that's what brought your customers in, and like you're just going to go say, hey, we're going to push you right out because we need to make more money. Which again, I understand, but you're going to push your customers away.
Dude, that's the thing, man. Mediocrity is celebrated in this. It's so fun. I was meeting with my brother-in-law. My brother-in-law's in town for his birthday, and we were celebrating the 4th and all that. And he's from New York. He's a wine guy. He sells wine in New York. And he's in the culinary hub of the world, you know what I mean? So he's used to a certain level of standard and all that stuff. And, we were talking about how anywhere you go in the United States, like mediocrity is pretty prevalent, on all points, right? Whether it be, the standard of food, the standard of service, all that kind of stuff. It's rare to find those really over the top amazing places. So yeah, so cutting all that stuff is usually the first thing that we think, right? It's like, oh, let's cut, and then we end up cutting our nose off to spite our face, and that's no bueno. But okay, but this is a real tangible thing too. Let's say we've got somebody here that's like, yeah, we get that. We keep our quality. We're doing everything we can. We're just trying to keep the wheels on the bus. How do I manage my cash flow better? I think number one, it starts by looking at it and understanding how the cash is coming in and out of your business.
Yeah.
Right? Like one practical thing I remember is I remember hiring a bookkeeping service for one of my restaurants way back. And, these guys were awesome because one of the things that they managed for us was our cash flow. They would come to us with weekly cash flow reports and be like, okay, this is the expenses that are coming up. These are our projected sales based on our history. These are the promos we're running. These are the events you have booked. They would analyze all that stuff and they'd go, okay, we need to look at the next week moving forward. So to your point, being proactive versus reactive, because by the time you look at your P&L, it's already happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But the cash flow is about, well, wait a minute. Let's predict. Let's look at the next week. Let's see what we have coming up. And let's adjust our ordering a bit. Let's look at our staffing schedules. Let's look at what we're doing in terms of how we're going to manage these cost centers in real time and project it out. And so this was a great service they provided us because they gave us insights into how we should conduct our week coming up. And it saved us so much. It was amazing.
Yeah. I think exactly what you just said. I think the first thing is don't look at the $200 service that you got that's doing something for you, right? Like the first thing is look at your controllable. Like what can you control, right? I can control my food costs. I can control my labor. Those are
your prime cost,
50 to 60% of your expenses right there. So like that's hone in there, because you're not going to save your cash flow by trimming $200 here in a service that you kind of need, kind of don't need, $300 for that. Like $500 is not going to improve your cash flow problem.
Yeah, it's going to be that.
You're looking at percentages. Yeah.
So the key here is we need to be less reactive. This is what I'm hearing, and you tell me if I'm wrong. But I'm hearing we need to be less reactive and more proactive in our management. That's key.
Yeah.
So if you are someone who is just, even if you're just looking at your P&Ls once a month, which many of you aren't even doing that, but if you're looking at your P&Ls once a month, that's great, but that's a snapshot of what already happened. You can make decisions from that. There's great information there. You should be doing that. But if you don't have cash flow reporting going on, predictive cash flow reporting on at least a weekly rolling basis, then that's a problem. So I would say get with your CPA, your bookkeeping service, whoever you're working with. Hopefully it's not you, and let's set that up so you have the insights that you need to be able to comfortably predict what your week's going to look like.
And here, even if you're a restaurant, who you can't afford a CPA, or you can only afford a CPA when it's tax time, right? Like,
yeah.
And you don't have the softwares, it's very simple. Take the last 3 to 4 weeks of sales and use that as an average. Take your expenses. Let's just do the food cost, your food cost bills and your payroll, and just start there. And what has that been the last, 2 or 3 cycles? And now you understand, okay, on average, we're at $30,000 a week. Our payroll is, $10,000, for that, whatever that amount of time. And here's our vendor bills are about that. Okay. What's that percentage?
Yeah.
Now you start to see, well, hey, wait, I thought I was running a 30% food cost. I'm really running a 37, or, hey, I thought my labor was 25 or 28%. It's really 32. Well, there's 10% that you just spotted by just simple, easy math,
Well, and then the proactive part of that is like once you have a line on that, it's like, how do we then give our teams the budgets to work within, right? Like if you tell somebody, you tell a sous chef to order shit, they're going to order what they think they need. But if you tell them, hey, you've got this amount of money to spend by this date, don't go over that because this is what our sales predictions are, they're going to stay within that. They're going to save you a bunch of money, right? And then you have an inventory thing. Or same thing with our schedules. We need to be scheduling to a budget, at very least. Not to mention, like, let's talk about, monitoring sales per labor hour and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's before you can even get there. Like most people are just scheduling bodies they think they need based on what they just feel. Like, no, let's look at this from a very proactive, state. There's so many things we can be doing to control those costs in real time. And it starts with understanding what is our cash flow projection? What is our cash flow prediction?
Yeah. Yeah. Because now, hey, if I can raise sales $300 a day by doing X, Y, and Z, or hey, it kind of depends what stage you're in, right? Are you like you're breathing out of a straw, as my dad would say, or you don't got a lot of time, or hey, this is starting to become an issue, my cash flow. So now I really need to focus on operations quality of the service I'm getting. Let's pick business back up, or let's do a marketing campaign, or let's do promos, something to drive business back up to get the word out there about you, right? And then you got the other person who's already breathing through a straw and they're just barely hanging on, making ends meet, right?
I love that.
Or that can go for one location, but that can go for, hey, I have 5 locations. I got 2 that are like that, and I got 3 that are okay, right? Like, just because you have 5 locations doesn't mean this isn't a problem.
Yeah, no, look, that's very common, right? You're always going to have, like, if you have 5, 10, 20, 30 locations, some of them are going to do better than others for sure. And then you're going to have your dogs that are kind of they're limping along with the support of the others. I don't know. It's kind of a benefit of having multi-locations, so you can kind of do that, but you don't want to stay in that state. You know what I mean? No. So, and again, it goes back to, are we being as proactive as possible? And sometimes it's just, maybe you just got a shitty location and you got to figure that out. But many, many, many times, these are very preventable kinds of things, what's interesting? I was reading a book not too long ago. Maybe many of listeners may have heard of this, but it's called Profit First. And it's a cool concept because, we've all heard, like, growing up, like, pay yourself first, that whole idea, like, take a portion of your paycheck and put it away for retirement or whatever. So it's just done.
I grew up in the restaurant business. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's like, no, payroll, vendors. But here's the thing. The way we usually run our businesses is sales come in, we pay our people, we pay the vendors, we pay all the fixed costs and everything we got to pay. And then what's left over, we scrape up and we keep if there's anything left over, right? Yeah. Now, there's a problem with that. The problem with that is that, we're the ones that are in control of the business. We are the owners of the business, and we're taking the scraps after everybody else gets theirs. So the premise of this book is, no, pay yourself first. You take a percentage off the top and you put that into, say, a high interest yield account or whatever it is. You pay yourself first. It could be 1% to start. It could be 5%. It could be 10%, whatever it is. But you pay yourself your profit. And then psychologically, what do? Right? We tend to figure that in as an expense, and we figure other stuff out, right? So, like, if I was paying a franchise fee of 5, 7, 8%, they get theirs right off the top. No questions asked. Franchise gets the fee, period. And then you got to figure out the rest. Well, what if you acted as your own personal franchisor and you said, hey, I'm going to take my 5% cut as if I franchised to myself, and I put it in a
management fee.
Right? And now I'm guaranteed profit that you can then use to self-fund growth or to whatever, or to have that emergency fund or to have that backup of payroll or backup 6 months worth of expenses in case, alien invasion or COVID or something happens. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just, I thought it was a pretty simple concept, but it's so hard, I think, for people to get their head around sometimes to do. And I can hear it right now. Yeah, but I don't have that much money. Well, whatever. Okay, you're a victim.
And
You're a
I'm
victim.
sitting here going, yeah, but to myself, like, shit, this sounds like a great concept, but
Yeah,
how do we dig ourselves out of this, right? I think that's what, if you're still here, that's what you're trying to understand,
yeah,
right? Now I think there's the healthy ways as we described, right? I would say more of the organic way of, okay, hey, here's my expenses. I'm right where I should be. I'm at 30% food costs. I'm at 28% labor. That's what I need to be at to run my business. And there's no cash flow. There's no profit. Okay. Well, now there's a sales problem, right? I need to generate more sales. If you're hitting your cost, right, and you're
yeah,
not overspending, you're tight on your budget, right? You've identified the issue. It's a sales problem.
yep,
Now, if you go on, no, hey, sales are decent. They're mediocre. They could be better. They could be worse. And you go out and you see, hey, I'm 4 points over on food costs. I'm 3 points over on this. Okay, well now start trimming that. Get that in line and see what that does to your cash flow, right?
mm,
Okay. But before, I think, don't be reactive. Go and look under the hood first, and then there's the cash injection aspect. That you know, I'll be honest, I've done it before. Where you take money from, whether it's a credit card company, or now you see like your POS companies do cash injections. Yeah, they're high interest, but sometimes, hey, as you're trying to figure this out, it's going to help you breathe a little bit. It's going to help you sleep at night a little bit, to think with a clear head. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
so like, don't think, oh, it's high interest. Yes, it is high interest, but sometimes you got to do some shit
yeah,
to get out of the
yeah.
shit. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
So
look, every situation is different, and there's so many different solutions out there. But at the end of the day, man, my thought is like, get your freaking head out of the sand. Stop being afraid to look at to me, that's the biggest problem. Is there, when people are having these issues and they can't quite figure it out, it's usually because, hey, I'm afraid to look at this. I don't even want to look at my bank account. I don't want
it's
to
a
look.
fear based.
It's
Hmm.
scary.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
freaking scary. And you know what? We got to get over that. We got to get over that. We got to look at it. We got to deal with it. And let's be proactive. Let's put some systems in place that are going to help us to more comfortably predict that we've got the ability to, we've got cash. We've got cash coming in and out in a healthy way. We got more coming in than we've got coming out. That's the goal, right? More in, less out.
Right.
It's
That's
pretty
the first
freaking
thing.
simple.
I think what you said about budgets are huge. And I think if you're not the owner operator who's doing the labor or the scheduling, and you're not doing the ordering right, and you have managers in place, put your budgets in place and be very much on top of them, on a weekly basis. And then if they need to go over that budget, they need to provide you a reason as to why, prior to acting on it.
Yeah, dude, that's key. Okay, so this is a whole can of worms, but I do want to touch on this really quickly because
Mm-hmm.
so much of this is in the hands of the people that are running the day to day
Yeah.
inside the restaurant, right? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we oftentimes are challenged with this thing of like, okay, we've got people running our shifts, running our restaurants that don't necessarily have an acumen. They don't have MBAs. They don't understand cash flow reports and all this other stuff.
Right.
So how do we get to the point where we give them the tools that they need to be successful and, within their own limitations, and get them to execute? Because that's a big piece of it, right? Like, if you got 5 locations, 6 locations, you can't be everywhere at once. You've got to
Mm-hmm.
rely on those people that are running the store to do the right things in the right moments.
Yeah.
So how do we
Yeah. And
empower them to do
yeah.
the right thing?
Well, I think, again, and I'm gonna do an old school mentality here when I tell people this, because if you don't have these softwares, again, a lot of these softwares today can do all the projections for you. But hey, line it up, go old school. Here's my schedule from last week. Look at the schedule from last week, and here's what the cost was. Okay, if you go and schedule the same thing, it's going to cost me this. Well, you were
Mm-hmm.
too high, right? So we need to. Where can you trim? Well, let's
Yep.
start trimming on the areas we can trim. maybe on Mondays, Tuesdays, again, maybe can you go down to, during those low volume hours, go down a little bit more,
Yeah, dude.
like old
I will
school.
sing this to the end of time. Like one of our biggest controllables obviously is labor. And the problem is
Mhm.
sometimes like, we cut labor to the bones, the fact that now service suffers and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. If you know what your sales per labor hour are, right? And
Mhm.
you're going to know when those key times you're going to need the staff there.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
going to help you to schedule those key times more efficiently. And if you are not scheduling to a budget on your scheduling, if you don't have everybody's pay rate plugged into your schedule, correctly, and you don't look at those schedules as a dollar amount and percentage of sales projection before you post that schedule, you are missing a huge opportunity to schedule more effectively.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
can save thousands of dollars just by tweaking in times
Yeah.
and layering the right amount of people during the right service hours, having
Yeah.
enough staff there during service. Man, I was at a restaurant the other night where the poor girl, she had like a 10 table section and just got plowed, and
Yeah. Yeah. We
she was
see it all the
barely
time.
keeping it together, and it was a terrible experience. Not her fault, but she
Yeah.
was put in a bad situation. And I'm looking at this going, wow, this place is packed. It was a holiday weekend at the beach, people everywhere, opportunity to go over the top with service, and they blew it. They ended up comping half our bill because it was like all
Yeah.
jacked.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude,
So, and I won't be
it's
going back anytime soon.
so like you don't need an MBA. You don't need these fancy softwares to figure this out, is what I'm trying to explain to them. Like you can go old school route and just do the math by hand and say, hey, here you go. Right.
Yeah.
And be realistic with your sales. Don't be, we all love to play. Oh, if I remember that one Saturday we did, $6,500. We haven't done that in a fucking year, dude. Like, be realistic when you do your projections. Like, please, again, and I'm talking to you from real experience, right? Like, I've been
Yeah.
the happy-go-lucky. Well, remember that weekend? Again, this is why it's so important. Trends and data is so important to
Yeah.
your decision making. It can't be all like feelings and happy-go-lucky stuff. Like, be realistic.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this, Spiro. In your opinion, what's the one thing that someone listening to this right now can do to start to manage their cash flow? If they're not doing it, they haven't, they heard this. Okay, we get it. If there's one thing they can do today that's going to move the needle for them and their cash flow situation, what would you say that might be? I've got my own ideas, but I'd like to hear yours.
I think the first thing that I would do personally is I'm gonna hammer in my food cost and my portions and my waste, like those.
Mm-hmm.
How much are we on the money with our portions? Are we throwing money out the door with our portions? What's our variance look like? If it's supposed to be 4 ounces of meat go on the sandwich, are we putting 4.5? Well, 4.5 times, X amount of sandwiches. Now you just gave away, $300-400 in product maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my first instinct is going to go. And while you're there, you're also going to be evaluating the labor.
Yeah.
You're going to see where it is, but
Yeah. Prime
focus
costs.
on the food costs. I think that's where you're at.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to go I'm going to go a step before you. And because I completely agree with you, dude, I'm going to go a step before you. I'm going to say, first things first is find a way to get cash flow reporting going for your restaurant. Like, just work with your bookkeeper, work with your team, use the software, whatever you got to do, but put a system in place so that these are the sales that I'm projecting for the week based on our history. These are the costs we are likely going to incur, whether that be food costs, labor costs, or other costs. And this is now the budget that we have to work within. And then work with your teams on that. Like, how do we get them to schedule to budgets, to order to budgets with that cash flow in mind? Because if we're not looking at it, and you said it in the beginning, proactive versus reactive. So many of us are in reactive mode when we're managing our businesses. And that is not a healthy place to be. Proactive.
And I'm going to take this another step further. This is not about if you're an operator who has managers, this is not about micromanagement. It's exactly, it's almost the opposite.
Yeah.
It's one, it's these are all teachable moments. So like if
Yep.
again, if I'm going through and we're having a budget issue of cash flow for this location, whether it's number 1 or number 5 or number 30, right? These are all teachable moments of, hey, we're going to go through inventory. Okay, explain to me why we have 5 cases of this that we only go through 1.5 a week, right? Explain to me your thought process behind it so we can change the thought process, the perspective, not because, and this is what they do. And I've seen it because I've been yelled at by my own family for this stuff, man. So like, I get where, why the f do you got 5 cases here? Are you effing stupid, right? Like, I'm sorry. Let's just instead let's understand why this was incorrect, or hey, you could have done it this way. You could have taken like this is where I was teaching at my locations where, okay, you see this is these 5 cases here. This costed us, $500. You only needed 1 case, so you spent an extra 400. You could have taken that $400 and bought this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
and all those would have been off the shelf before those 5.
Yep.
So get them to think differently. This is not micromanagement. This is teachable moments.
I love that you said that. And I'm going to give you the easy button on that. Read my book, Loyal AF, How to Build a Ride or Die Team That Grows Sales, Wows Guests, and Never Leaves. It's all in there.
Yeah.
Just what you said. I love it, man. Okay, so this is good, dude. I'm hoping that, we're coming away here with some real good nuggets of things that we can do. We want to hear your comments. So
I have one more thing too.
Yeah.
For your operator that is a little bit more seasoned and is going to open up 1 to 2 or number 4 to 5, whatever it is, make sure you know what you need cost-wise for this new location. Do not lowball it.
Oh yeah.
Dude, I see that so many times where like put the working capital for 6 months, 8 months, even a year into what you need in that loan.
Yeah, being an undercapitalized is a pretty. I remember
worst.
talking to an investor early on when I was looking for money for one of my poke shops, and I remember him saying that he's like, the last thing we want to be is undercapitalized in this, so let's make sure we get enough. And I learned that the hard way. That particular, I didn't listen to that advice at that point. I was way undercapitalized, and we ended up shutting our doors in 9 months, so we just didn't have enough cash
Right.
to get
There you
through
go.
the
That's
winter.
a perfect example.
So,
Right.
I mean, I've experienced it on that end for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love it. If you got comments, you got some thoughts around this, reach out to us. We're here for you. We would love to hear your thoughts. Comment, hit us on LinkedIn, come to the leadership circle and let's talk some more. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
All
Beautiful.
right, Mr. Spiro. We'll see you next time, my man.
All right. I'm going to go do some cash flow exercises now.
I love it. All right, ride or dies. Until next time.